Nathan Cole adjusted his tie in front of the mirror, trying to align the thoughts that stubbornly tangled in his mind. The reflected image showed a man accustomed to controlling everything around him, but today he couldn't find the balance between the worry and guilt that weighed on his shoulders. Breakfast was on the table, still warm, but Ellie, his 6-year-old daughter, remained silent, pushing the cereal flakes in the bowl as if she were trying to guess the future. Since Clara entered their lives, Ellie seemed different, more introspective, less smiling. Nathan wanted to believe it was just the adaptation process, but something in him, something deep and primal, told him there was more behind that silence. "Don't you want to eat?" he asked, his voice trying to sound carefree. Ellie raised her green eyes and fixed them on his for a second, before quickly diverting them to the window, as if expecting to find there the answer to the question she didn't know how to ask. "I'm not hungry, Daddy," Nathan sighed, rubbing his forehead. He sat down in the chair opposite his daughter, crossing his arms on the table. The smell of freshly brewed coffee rose to him, reminding him that there was an important meeting at the office in a few hours. He forced himself to smile. "Sweetheart, I know it's been difficult with the change, but Clara only wants the best for both of us, for you." Ellie said nothing. She bit her lower lip, a habit Nathan recognized as a sign that she wanted to say something, but was afraid. He extended his hand over the table, trying to shorten the distance that in recent times seemed like an abyss. "You know you can tell me anything, right?" She raised her eyes and stared at him with a vulnerability that made him shudder. "Daddy?" Her voice sounded weak, like the rustling of leaves outside. "Do you think Ms. Clara likes me?" Nathan blinked, surprised. He had always believed that Clara had made an effort to win Ellie over with small gestures of affection, gifts, and attention. But at the same time, he had noticed in recent days a tension in the air, something subtle, almost imperceptible. "Of course, my love," he replied, trying to keep his voice steady. "She just wants you to be happy." Ellie bit her lip again, and for a moment she seemed more fragile than ever. "But sometimes I feel like she doesn't really like me, that she's different when you're not around." Nathan felt his stomach churn. He thought about the long meetings, the business trips that kept him away from home. He thought about the times he came home late and found Clara reading stories to Ellie or helping her with her homework. He tried to convince himself that it was all just a child's imagination. But something in Ellie's voice bothered him deeply. "Does she do anything that bothers you?" he asked carefully. Ellie looked at her hands, small and delicate, resting on the table. "Sometimes she holds me very tightly. Like yesterday, when we were playing near the pool. I fell in the water and she pulled me by the arm. It hurt." Nathan felt a chill run down his spine. He leaned forward, taking her little hand. "Did she hurt you?" Ellie raised the sleeve of her blouse, revealing a purplish mark in the shape of fingers on her arm. Nathan's world stopped. Every fiber of his body screamed with indignation, with fear, with guilt for not having been there to protect her. "My God, Ellie." He took a deep breath, trying to stay calm. "Why didn't you tell me before? She said you would be mad at me, that you wouldn't like me anymore if I told you." Nathan felt his chest tighten. Clara, with her sweet voice and impeccable smile, had achieved what he had always feared, poisoning the trust that existed between him and his daughter. He got up and walked to Ellie's side, kneeling next to her. "Listen, my love. Nothing, absolutely nothing, will make me stop loving you. Never. You are the most important person in my life. If someone hurt you, that's who I'm going to be mad at. Understand?" She nodded, her eyes watering. Nathan hugged her, feeling her small, trembling body in his arms. That afternoon, Nathan gathered the courage to talk to Lauren, the new assistant who had been taking care of Ellie in recent weeks. Lauren was sweet, attentive, and above all, seemed to see beyond appearances. He called her to the office, making sure Clara wasn't around. "Lauren," he began, his voice choked, "have you noticed anything strange in Clara's behavior towards Ellie?" Lauren hesitated for a moment, looking at her hands crossed in her lap. "Mr. Cole, I didn't want to be the one to cause trouble, but yes, I've noticed that Clara is sometimes harsh with Ellie, much more than seems necessary." Nathan felt his throat dry. "Harsh how? Have you ever seen her hurt Ellie?" Lauren took a deep breath. "Once, near the pool, I saw Clara hold Ellie's arm tightly. When I approached, she immediately let go and said they were just playing. But Ellie was crying, and there were other times when I saw her say harsh things to Ellie when she thought no one was listening." The confirmation fell on Nathan like a sharp blade. He closed his eyes for a moment, gathering strength. Thank you, Lauren. You don't know how important this is. Mr. Cole, I care a lot about Ellie. She's a special girl. I just want her to be okay. Nathan squeezed her shoulder with gratitude. I know that. And me too, very much. He knew he could no longer ignore the signs. He needed to protect Ellie. He needed to confront Clara before it was too late. That night, Nathan barely slept. Ellie's words echoed in his mind, mixed with Lauren's and the memories of each of Clara's false smiles. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw his daughter's face, tense, hurt, begging for protection. He knew he couldn't wait any longer. He couldn't risk Clara hurting Ellie again. He needed to be sure, gather evidence if necessary, so that Clara could no longer manipulate the situation in her favor. The next morning, Nathan woke up before dawn. The still dark sky reflected his somber mood. He went down the stairs in silence, entered the office and searched the house's security files. The cameras were positioned in several strategic points: the kitchen, the living room, the pool, the hallway. He opened the recordings from the previous afternoon and watched the scene unfold. Ellie and Clara were in the backyard near the pool. Clara was smiling, but there was something tense in the way she held Ellie's arm. Nathan advanced a few seconds in the recording and saw Clara lean towards his daughter, her face hardening suddenly. The cameras did not capture sound in that area, but Ellie's body was visibly trembling. Then Clara pulled her forcefully, and Ellie tripped. Clara released the girl abruptly, and the little one staggered back, her eyes wide with fear. Nathan felt his blood boil. He advanced again, seeing Lauren arrive hurriedly, calling Ellie with a worried voice. Clara turned to her with a sweet smile, but Nathan knew what was hiding behind that mask. Nathan took a deep breath. He needed to act, but he needed to be smart. Confronting Clara without solid evidence could put him in a vulnerable position, and above all, it could put Ellie at risk. He decided that he would go to the office that morning and from there monitor the house through the security system. Shortly after 7, Clara came down for breakfast. She wore a light blue blouse and an elegant skirt. Her hair was tied in an impeccable bun, as if each strand had been carefully calculated. She smiled at Nathan, approached, and kissed his cheek. "Good morning, love. Did you sleep well?" Nathan swallowed hard, struggling to maintain his composure. "Yes. And you?" "Perfectly," she said, taking a mug of coffee. "By the way, I was thinking of taking Ellie to the park this afternoon. Some quality time between the two of us, you know. I think it's important to strengthen our bond." Nathan took a deep breath, his heart pounding in his chest. "Actually, I think it's better if Lauren is around too. Ellie likes her company." Clara's smile wavered for an instant, but she quickly recovered it. "Of course, dear, whatever you want." Nathan knew that crack in Clara's smile said it all. She didn't want witnesses. He left for work, parked the car a few streets away, and connected to the house's camera system through his cell phone. The image of the kitchen appeared clear. Ellie was having breakfast with Lauren next to her, while Clara circulated around the kitchen, her usual smile plastered on her face. Nathan watched every movement, every expression, mentally noting any suspicious detail. He knew Clara was skilled at masking her true intentions, but now he was prepared to capture any evidence. A few hours later, Clara tried to dismiss Lauren earlier. The kitchen camera recorded every word. "Lauren, dear, I really appreciate your help, but I think today is a good day for Ellie and me to spend some time alone. You know, build trust." Lauren hesitated, looking at Ellie, who remained silent. "I understand, but Mr. Cole asked me to stay until later. He thinks it's important for Ellie's transition." Clara's smile wavered again, and her eyes flashed with something Nathan knew well. Frustration mixed with anger, but she didn't insist. Nathan felt relief mixed with concern. Clara was losing control, and that made her even more dangerous. He needed to ensure Ellie was safe while he gathered the necessary evidence. At the end of the afternoon, Nathan decided to call Mark, the police friend who had helped with legal issues in the past. He explained the situation in detail, every nuance, every mark on Ellie's arm. "Mark, I need your help to investigate Clara. Does she have the correct social security number? Is there a history of abuse?" Mark sighed on the other end of the line. "Nathan, I'll need a few hours, but I can pull whatever is possible. If she has any history, I'll find it." "Thank you, Mark. I need to make sure she can't get away with it." "I understand. I'll call as soon as I have something." Nathan hung up and stared at his cell phone screen, the image of the kitchen still open. Clara was smiling, but now he saw beyond the smile. He saw the monster hidden behind the mask. Late in the afternoon, Mark called back. His voice was more serious than ever. "Nathan, I don't like what I found. Clara Manning, that's her real name. 2 restraining orders in different states for abusive behavior with children. A closed investigation into the suspicious death of a 7-year-old stepson. Officially, it was accidental drowning, but the circumstances are strange." Nathan felt the ground disappear beneath his feet. Every detail fit together like pieces of a dark puzzle. Clara wasn't just a difficult stepmother. She was a real threat. "Thank you, Mark. I'll take care of this. But promise me that if I need it, you'll help me protect Ellie." "You have my word, Nathan. Anything you need." Nathan took a deep breath. The decision made. That night he would sit down with Ellie and tell her that from that moment on nothing would come between them. And Clara, he would gather enough evidence so that she could never hurt another child. That night, Nathan sat on the edge of Ellie's bed, holding her hand. "Sweetheart, I know things have gotten confusing, but I want you to know that you are the most important person in my life. I promise I will protect you, always." Ellie looked at him with teary eyes. "I trust you, Daddy." He kissed her forehead, feeling the weight of responsibility, but also the strength of someone who had finally heard the truth. Nathan knew that, from that moment on, nothing would be the same, but he was ready to face whatever it took to keep Ellie safe.